Welcome back again, guys. I am Freeman Singirankabo with Afri Dominion. We are back. We are back after getting interrupted for the messages that we were passing on you guys or that we were sharing with you. I will jump right in it, but we're just talking about the fight against COVID-19 in Africa, enforced vaccination. We had yet to talk about the broken judicial system in Rwanda and in Africa. But we got disrupted, we got interrupted, we got cut off for talking about COVID-19 enforced vaccination. Guys, I want you to see what happens. Pay attention to what's taking place in various countries. Have some research, some truth to what's happening in your own homeland. Have your own doctors in good faith tell you that everything is okay. Inspire, advocate, and encourage the truth and nothing but the truth. Again, I absolutely want to commend a lot of you young people who are taking it upon yourselves to actually take extra measure in your reading. You're going out there and you're doing your very best to try to understand what's happening here. It is not easy, but it's not impossible. This season is our season. This season is our season. No pharmaceutical, no government agency, nobody is going to take over our bodies by force and still call that a free will. There is no free will if you're being forced to do something that you do not want to do, that you do not see or deem in your best interest. There's no free will in that. Young people, open your eyes. Open your eyes. There is a real fight going on, a real fight taking place today. And you have to be able to differentiate right from wrong, truth from the lies. Broken systems all over the world. Which system are you going to follow? That is something that you're going to have to deal with. And unfortunately, on your own. It's not easy, but it's not impossible. Hello, guys. Every day we thrive to do better by our own people, to do better by ourselves, to live a life that you can say, I've done my duty while I was here on Earth, on planet Earth. Not as a slave to someone, not as a useless individual, because you are very valuable. So anyone who wants to turn you into a valueless human being, I don't see why you would allow them to do that. It's inhumane to treat another human being in 2022 like a slave, like a nobody. It is inhumane to do that. And any of you participating in this action, you won't be around, you would not be along for a very long time. This season is not going to let you be. And not all the people can perish just because the very few here and there want to terminate or exterminate all the people. So, ladies and gentlemen, young people in particular, you Africans, be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. Seek the truth and nothing but the truth. Get the right information. Use the right information accordingly. Accordingly, I said. Be wise in your decisions. Be responsible of the decisions that you are taking. I think I will just end it there, especially that we're getting shot left and right, up and down over this broadcast. But I still want to let you know, young people, COVID-19 as a disease is there. However it's being defined, it's still there. You have a responsibility, just like the rest of the world has a responsibility to look after your very best interest. It's a responsibility that you have. You will have to make a choice as to how you want to live your life today and tomorrow. With or without COVID-19, with or without the rest of the diseases we fight with. But the choice is going to ultimately become yours. We need to take back the leadership of our homelands, guys. We need to be in a position to decide for ourselves. We in Rwanda need to be in a position where anybody who forced you, or who has forced you, or who's forcing you to take any medicine, be it COVID-19 or anything else that they might want to put out there, you can hold them accountable to that. I believe the international community has the obligation to the planet, especially that they want to take that kind of responsibility to assume the full liability of everything that may happen consequently, because of the advocacy of vaccination, that they have yet to understand the disease that we are fighting with. We have to hold the governments accountable for the death and any short and long-term consequences that you, as a people, especially those of you who are being forced to vaccinate, any consequences, they have to take 100% liability over that. We are in trying times, and we have to be bold. We have to be strong. We have to regain our true selves, our true image, and do what we have to do, especially you Africans and African descendants. Whether you've been trained or not trained for this season as such, you still have to own up. You still have to do what you have to do. And with that in mind, let me move on to the next thing, because we keep on getting shut out. I want to talk about the broken system in Africa, but in particular, we want to scrutinize the case of Rwanda. You all know that it's been 28 years since the Rwandan Patriotic Front is ruling Rwanda. For those of you who do not know Rwanda, it's one of those countries that has had a genocide in 1994, the Hotel Rwanda. Most of you have heard of it because of the main character, the name Paul Rusesabagina, who was depicted in a story. And out of that story, Paul Lusesabagina was one of those Rwandese courageous men who helped a lot of people during the mass killing time that we have lived. And by the way, I'm also from Rwanda, and I was there too, just like many others who were fortunate enough to survive the war. So Paul Rusesabagina and so many other heroics who have helped a lot of Rwandese people is currently on a trial for challenging some of the actions, challenging the leadership in Rwanda. And the judicial system in Rwanda has made it so that who challenges the government openly, to all of you guys, if you do not end up in prison, you get disappeared, or you get killed openly. If not that, they make sure that the whole entire world disown you as an individual. Now, I know that Rwanda doesn't do this by itself. It has helpers all over, co-conspirators. The same way that in 1990 to 1994, when the Front Patriotic Front was still a rebel group, was also being helped. So now, the reason why we're talking about the broken system, now that the Front Patriotic Front is the ruling party in Rwanda, it has set up a judicial system since the genocide, since 1994. They made sure to prosecute everybody else except themselves. Up to this very day, they have yet to prosecute any single member of the Front Patriotic Front rebels. More than 3 million people have died. No investigation as to what happened to them. The suspect is also the investigator, is also the prosecutor, is also the one telling you the status of everything that's taking place in Rwanda. I ask you again, the international community, where are we headed as a people? Where are we headed? When the genocide was taking place, you knew it. You watched it happen. You even helped when it was happening. Aren't you as responsible as every single individual who was prosecuted and who is still getting prosecuted right now? Are you not as responsible? Why is it that we have yet to see a single country getting prosecuted for the genocide that took place in Rwanda? How is it that only one small group of people have been prosecuted, but the rest of the world, it's still running free? When we know that many people are walking with blood in their hands, Rwandese blood, Congolese blood, Ugandan blood, Tanzanian blood, Burundian blood, Belgian blood, French blood. So many people have died, and they are still dying today. I wonder what it's going to take for you sons and daughters of Africa and you African descendants to realize that the work that has to be done, it has to be done with or without those who are keeping you from doing it as approval. We still have to do the work, guys. Remember, the oppressor isn't going to stop oppressing you just because you say, forgive me, help us. It's not going to happen. Apologies, by the way, to those of you joining us from social media. We got cut off. We got cut off when we were talking about COVID-19. They just cut us off because they didn't want us to talk about that. That's why most of you can't connect anymore from the social medias. And this is another one of those examples also that I want you guys to pay attention to, young people. These social medias that we are using are also controlled by the same people who are managing, who are controlling what message can go out. So be mindful. There's some information when you talk about it, it isn't a sexy information that is to be digested by the mass unless it's approved by the same people we are pointing fingers to. We are accustomed to getting interruptions here at HMG Network when we have some serious conversations. This is a norm for us. This is why each and every one of you who's smart enough, we need to join forces. We need to get together and have our own infrastructures, our own communication infrastructure, our own systems in various sectors to serve us, to serve our own interest. We cannot communicate at the mercy of an oppressor, at the mercy of that person, that individual, that institution that is controlling when, how, and why, and this and that, when you can communicate to your own people. Get to understand that, young people. Right now, for you on social medias, the majority of social medias out there are fully controlled by the people who may not necessarily want you to receive certain opinions, to receive certain information openly, like right now, so that you can have an informed decision, so you can form a more logic decision about what you want in life, about how you want to live your lives. We have controlled messages, guys. We have controlled messages every single day. And this is one of the things that we are saying, we need to fight over that. And we need to fight over that smartly, young people. It is your life that you're fighting for, that you're fighting for. It is your family's life, your community's life, your country's life. It is your well-being. Why would you want to be that stupid that you could harm yourself? I don't want to harm myself. So whatever the information that I have that I can get from you, I want to make sure that it's beneficial, which is why we bluntly speak. We boldly speak. We speak with no apologies. It is our right. It is your right to seek out information, to scrutinize information given to you, to examine and make sure that it's right information, not just good. It needs to be right information. Not everything good is right for you. Get the right information so that they can benefit you as an individual, as a family, as a community, as a nation, as a continent. But you have the task to ensure that the right information is there, that you're receiving, you're giving the right information. And right now, truthfully speaking, there's a huge question mark as to what is the right information. Why? Because the source of the most of the information that's being disseminated to you all is questionable. We have lost the trust. So how can you use something you're not trusting and confidently say that you are standing behind it 100%? It would be a lie. So going back to the judicial system in Rwanda. So the Front Patriotic Rwanda, or the Rwandan Front Patriotic, is the ruling party in Rwanda, has committed crimes against humanity, has killed people in and outside of Rwanda. It continues to do that today, in and outside of Rwanda. The international community is watching openly and is nothing about it. They can prosecute any person they so choose. They can manufacture lies about you. How can you trust a system working like that? Sadly, most of the international community have realized that they have been duped by the Rwandan Front Patriotic, or the Rwandan Patriotic Front, however you arrange those leaders. And some of them have started to distance themselves from the leadership in Rwanda. However, given that they have participated in all these things happening, they do not want to be prosecuted themselves. And ensuring that they do not get prosecuted, they are struggling to set up a court, specifically an independent court, that can actually bring back the order in Africa, bring back the order in Rwanda. And now you, the people, unless you take the right position and spearhead these investigations and spearhead these prosecutions, you're still going to have criminals walking amongst you, prosecuting innocent people for crimes that they have not committed. Such is the world that we are living in today. It's very shameful, and history will write that. From 1990 to today, in 2022, we have had governments from all over the world that have watched countries after countries after countries perishing with their hand in it, and let it all go without doing anything good about it or right about it. Benevolent people out there, we know that you are, many of you, but a whole lot of you are afraid to face evil and to do the right thing. What will it take for you to act? Now, you young people, you African and African descendants, what will it take for you to act, for you to save your own homelands, for you to restore the rightful position of your own families, of your leaders? What will it take? I submit to you that unless we work together, unless we fight evil, unless we uproot all evil out of Africa, with no exception. Evil will persist. Evil will continue to operate in all the systems that we can set up, including the judicial systems all over Africa, in your respective countries. Look what's happening. Look what's happening. If you guys don't have the time will tell. The time is a fixer of every situation, and you may miss your time. But that situation, however big or small it is, it has an expiration date. And as long as you know who you are, king and queen, and as long as you fight to go back in your own rightful position, your ancestors and your father will always fight for you. Be of a good spirit. All of you. The journey is not over. It may be long, even. But you got to realize we have to do what we have to do, with no apologies to the outsiders. And by the way, that does not mean that we are hateful of the outsiders. Not at all. Not at all. We simply want to have our houses in order as Africans. We simply want to have our house in order as Rwandese descendants, as Rwandese citizens, as Rwandese people. And if the international community, those few stakeholders who do not agree with that, time will tell the next step of action. I ask you, young people, to be mindful. To be mindful. The judicial system in Rwanda, African judicial systems are broken. The leadership in Africa, the leadership in Rwanda, they are both broken. There is a need to go back to the systems that reflects who we are as a people. The systems that look after our very best interest. And you have to do the legwork. You have to do the work. You have to sacrifice. And you have to fight for the new systems or the original systems that work, that have always worked. It's not easy, and it's not going to be easy, but we can do it. We are going to do it, one way or the other. I just want to remind you, the world moves every single day, with or without the oppressor, with or without the one who's wishing you ill, with or without you. The world moves every single day. The systems move every single day. Time continues to move every single day. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? We're living the most exciting times, and we're living the most challenging times. These times, there's so much opportunity from all over. How do you pick which side to be on if you do not know yourself. On one side, you want to fight for what is right. On the other side, you want to protect your family, your loved ones. And somewhere in the middle, you find someone who says, we don't think so. This is contrary to where we want you to go. This is contrary to the interest we are seeking. We come first, after all. You come second. How do you juggle with all of that and still look after the very best interest of your own people, your own family, first and foremost? You have a guest in your own house who's decided that his or her own interest comes first before you. What are you going to do with that guest? That's the question we are dealing with today. Africans, Rwandans, today you are led by the people whose interest is first and foremost before yours. And we are saying to you, it is about time that we flip that story. Your interest must and always must come first. And you have to actually oversee that. You have to secure that. It is your obligation, not your guest. Your guest has already decided, they have already taken action as to what they deemed important. Now it's your turn to decide what's important for you, what's important to your people, what is important to your family, to your community, to your nations. It's very clear. It is very, very, very clear. In any case, this fight, it's gonna go on and on and on and on and on. If you're rightly positioned, and if you're on the right side of history, there is no doubt that you will come out first and foremost. Only fight for what is yours. Respect what is yours. Protect it. Shed blood if necessary. But be mindful that it is an obligation that you have. It is not a suggestion. It is an obligation, not a suggestion at all. Because your ancestors, our ancestors, when they left the inheritance to all of us, we had the mandate to oversee that, to be a good steward of that inheritance, to manage it, to make it better, to improve it, and to share it with the rest of the world, not to sell it, and not to sell out our own people, not to sell out our own families, our own communities. And that is unfortunately what has happened up to this day. But it's about time, as I keep on saying, that we get to flip the script, that we get to take back what is rightfully ours. It's about time, young people. It is about time, young people. I can talk on and on and on and on and on. I know that there's so much to talk about. Between us getting shut off and the message getting across is not easy. But one thing for sure, it's not over yet. It is not over yet. We are living times that each and every one of you must carry on your own little small piece that you have been entrusted to. And we must fight for what is our, rightfully ours. And we must apologize to no one, especially outsiders. And we must fight against those who are perpetrating, those who are killing us, those who are putting us in a bigger and more deeper hole than we already are. We have to fight on behalf of our families, the voiceless, those who no longer can see that there is any viable, any possible way that we can come out of it alive. This life doesn't belong to anyone but me. And not one single government on this planet Earth has a saying in this life of mine. I came here on one day and I am going out on another day. In between my birth and my death, there is a purpose. I have a purpose. You have a purpose. Figure out what your purpose is. And hopefully, do what you have to do. Work hard. Seek out help, those who can help you, and get it done. And with that in mind, guys, thank you so very much. For those of you who have been helping us out, thank you for the networks that continue to fight, continue to broadcast our message. Thanks to HMG Network and affiliates for taking a chance on us. We know this message is very difficult, especially for the mainstream mass consumption. The truth will always prevail, no matter what. And we ask you to stand on the side of the truth anytime, anywhere. So with that in mind, guys, thank you so very much. I wish you all to have a super fantastic Friday and a great weekend to all of you. Do join us next Monday as we come back to our broadcast. And thanks again to all those of you who actually have helped us today, especially our technical teams. Those of you who have really worked so hard to make sure that this broadcast continues despite getting cut off multiple times, because they don't want us to speak the truth. They don't want us to speak to all of you. We are going to speak. We are going to talk about the things that matters the most to us. We are going to boldly speak, frankly speak, and with no apologies. And with that, I love you guys. I'm Freeman Singirankabo with Afri Dominion Show. Until next time, so long.